Hey, we are back. Round 4 of the Legacy main event at Impact Returns. I'm here with Estipe. We have actually upgraded Kai. Kai has been taken away by the police. He's being questioned about questionable doomsday piles he's made in the past. But Estipe is here with me. And we have a matchup of, well, it's Food Chain sitting in 3-0. Okay, that's exciting. Going up against Jeskai Delva. Jeskai Delva recently revitalized by 4th Erlingas, which has been a card we didn't really expect to come into that kind of deck, but has been doing really well in the hands of Alfonso Zarzoso, going up against Jorge Vazquez. How close was my pronunciation?
Your pronunciation is very good. Hello, everybody. I'm Stipe, and yes, Julian speaks Spanish
No, no,
very good,
no, no, no,
and his
no hablo.
pronunciation is good. So yes, we are starting here with this round. Players are fetching for their duels and playing the first creature for Alfonso.
Uh, It's probably like food chain has very different variants. You can have a food chain version that's like very combi oriented. You can have a food chain version that really just like plays a lot of mid range. For example, seeing rats like this is okay. I have no idea. This could actually be a rock version of food chain, which was popular like a year ago. We will see what's actually gonna look like because I think they don't use the mist hologriffins that we used to see. They might use the new scree. There's the scree that you can also cast from exile. And Alfonso's just gonna be like, okay, you killed my first creature. Here's the second one. We'll just try again.
Mhm. Let's see if Jorge has a second line involved. It seems he has no one. And it sounded like you didn't expect that lightning bolt from the food chain
No,
deck.
not at all. Not at all. So the traditional color for food chain is like bug color, so blue, black, green. And they have stuff like something like what's it called? Mist Hologriffin or the other thing. There's a couple of ways to build food chain in other colors, and we have seen that before. Sometimes it's 4 color. Sometimes you play that in a goblin deck like mono red. The rock deck, the rock version of Food Chain is very rare. I only really remember it because I mean, is that also a white spell in that hand, or it might be a proxy? Because this tournament allows up to 10 reshuffled proxies, and it looks like a
Yes,
tiger, right?
yes.
Yeah, okay. And we also see there could be a missed hologriffin in that hand there. So I mean, you can make it work. It still does the same. You can pitch it to. That's actually kind of cool, right? You pitch
Yeah.
missed hologriffin to force, and then you can still use it to combo. It's basically like a free force of it. I love that so much. So we will actually see what the red is really for. We already saw the lightning bolt, and we probably might see some of the scree that you can also cast from exile. But for now, we'll have to sit patiently and wait as Jorge decides to find a target for us first of all.
Let's see if he finds some more red cards in the future. But for now, Alfonso is resolving a brainstorm. Oh, he already resolved it, and is attacking for first blood in the game.
Yeah. Still looking at sitting at 1-1 that Dragon Rage Channeler is. We're gonna need to find. Actually, no, this is already a
No,
3-3.
yes,
Yeah, there's a creature in the graveyard. Lightning
that's
Bolt.
it.
I have amnesia. I already forgot about that. It's the same creature on board. Object permanence, that's not for me. Okay, we got a clock. I mean, right now, if you're Alfonso, you have no idea what you're playing against. You see basic mountain, you see basic island. You're like, what is this? Is this like blue-red control, standstill or something? And yeah, I mean, at some point, as soon as the Force of Will is going to be revealed, we're going to see what this is all about. But for now, if I'm Alfonso, I'm completely in the dark.
Yeah. He's resolving a ponder now, first with the trigger.
Yeah,
We can see a force of will, is it?
yeah, Force of Will, Delver of Secrets, and I think a Fetchland. Wouldn't mind like just picking up a Delver to increase the clock. You could also want to pick up the Force of Will. Oh, we already have a Force of Will in hand. Okay.
Mm. He has no idea what he's playing against, so
Yeah,
he wants to feel safe with a force of will in hand.
yeah. Like I barely know what's going on, and I can even see that this is Food Chain. So, so for those who don't know, technically the idea behind Food Chain is you have one of those creatures that you can cast from exile, and because Food Chain, when you exile one of your creatures, you add 1 more mana than the converted mana cost of that creature, but you can only spend that on more creatures. So you can go infinite as soon as you have like one creature to start the chain and go to any amount of mana. And usually people kill by using something like Walking Ballista. You can also like play some other like creatures, maybe like cantrip creatures that dig you deeper into the deck. But eventually you will usually need to find Walking Ballista, and that just shoots your opponent in the face,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny. So people ask, is Pithing Needle good against Food Chain? First of all, it's not, because like you cannot stop the mana ability, but you can actually stop the kill.
Yeah.
So sometimes Needle actually buys you at least one more turn, if not many turns. So is Pithing Needle good against Food Chain? Yes and no. Depends on the kill. Okay. Here we got Uro going to the graveyard. Okay. Alfonso, like at this point, if I'm Alfonso, I'm just thinking, okay, this is rug control. There's no other reason to believe that. He's going straight to the face. He wants to go for the beatdown, taking me down to 12 for a second. Now back up to 15. I guess it's still in the stack.
Now Alfonso is starting his turn, attacking again. And they are not updating their life totals.
Yeah, it's kind of funny also when you think about it. Jorge really wants to use that first of all on something worthwhile, because then he can like exile the Mist Hologriffin, and then you play the Mist Hologriffin, and all of a sudden like you can block all those creatures forever.
Yeah.
Like even if it dies, something you need to get it into exile after it dies. So something that Food Chain sometimes does is they play Relic of Progenitus. So you can activate Relic of Progenitus on yourself, you exile the Mist Hologriffin, and then you play it again.
Again.
I don't know if this is what they still do, but this is what we used to do in the past. Maybe there's better ways to do it now. We will see.
We'll see. He is fetching more basic lands.
Yeah, very common theme for Food Chain. Food Chain is known to really, really rely on its basic lands. But for now, we're just gonna escape Uro here. Yeah, hey, Alfonso, you gotta do something about that, because that is better than anything you have right now. Oh, it actually resolved? I thought like maybe Alfonso fights over this. Oh, and by the way, we just found out Mist Hologriffin, you can exile it with Uro for the escape cost.
Yes.
So you can
yes,
play.
also.
So that's a good way to get into exile again.
So many ways to
Yeah.
get creatures into exile, which for this deck is an advantage. Alfonso is trying a brainstorm now.
There's a Spell Pierce. I think that Murktide Regent.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you make a big Murktide Regent, that can try to at least raise the Uro, right? Together with your other flyers. The Delver has, well, the Delver will probably flip now. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Oh, we can even try to take out the Uro now. And I think Jorge will actually fight over that, right? If that's Prismatic Ending on the Uro. Actually, we have a trigger first. Don't forget the trigger. Yeah, see, he caught it. Removing the lands.
That's the spell that Jorge was waiting for to use his Force of Will. But Alfonso has one of his own as well. Jorge has another one.
Oh. They're fighting really hard about this.
Yeah.
By the way, is that a beta tropical island? It looks like a beta tropical island. Wow, like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so after everything is settled, Jorge is gonna stay with that Uro. Gonna take 6, gonna take him down to a low life total. I mean, he has to try to find something, but that something is already in exile. Yeah, we talked about this. The Mist Hologriffin, once it comes back, that's gonna be a nightmare for Alfonso. Because all of a sudden, like, you're attacking your creatures into that. Oh, I think Jorge has actually turned this game around. Oh, that's Imperial Recruiter. That's cool. Dude, so many old cards here. You know, Imperial Recruiter at a time was the most expensive card in Legacy.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was only for Portal
Yeah,
Three Kingdoms.
Yeah. It was like 130, 40 euros. And everybody, like, first of all, was 20, Underground Sea was 20. And then, like, this rare card, they allowed it to use in tournaments. They're like, okay, now it's super expensive. Chat is asking, so we allowed 10 reserved list proxies across your entire deck. Okay, I have no idea what that is. Chat, help me out. Does anybody... Oh, this is Food Chain, I would guess. If I don't know what it is and it's this mana cost, it's probably Food Chain. Yeah. And Food Chain wins the game here. So you can exile your Uro, you can play Mist Hologriffin, go to infinite mana, and then I guess Imperial Recruit, I didn't see what it found, but this is, don't make me say the name, I don't remember the name, but this is like the X creature, right? Where you can pay X and then you draw X cards. And I think you also
The hybrid crashes.
Hydro, yes,
Yeah.
that's why you got you know the cards. So you can basically draw your entire deck and then go wherever you want to go. Yeah, here's the Mistral Griffin, and Alfonso packs it in.
Yeah. So Jorge played very patiently here. He let Alfonso play his early threats. He didn't care about it, and he waited for the real important spell to counter it. And then after that, he went all in with his combo. And Alfonso, after watching the pieces, he didn't want to suffer, and he just
Yeah,
conceded the first game.
yeah. And also, this really clearly shows why Food Chain needs the basic lands. Like, Food Chain ended up needing a lot of mana, right? You got the Imperial Recruiter, you got the Food Chain, you want to get your Uro out and everything. So you don't want to get wastelanded. Like, all of your stuff costs really like 3 and 4 mana. And you really need to make sure that you don't get wastelanded. Sideboarding wise, we see Alfonso is bringing in a lot of counters. He's bringing in Force of See, the wastelands, by the way, go out. He's taking out the wastelands, yeah. He brought in, I think, 3 copies of Pyroblast, a couple of copies of Force of Negation. I think I also saw some surgical extractions. I'm not too big of a fan of the surgical and that. I mean, okay, you can get Uro. If you get Uro, okay, that's good. That's good. And especially if you have a lot to side out, you can do that. Also, we have Caracas. Caracas allows you to bounce Uro all the time.
But has Alfonso sided out his 4 wastelands?
I would
Because they
I
are
would
not
think so.
only to break lands but also to give mana.
Not so much. Like when you think about it, Wasteland doesn't cast a single spell in this deck.
Because they all most of them
It's like
need red or
red,
blue.
just a red, just a blue, Murktide Region, 2 blue. And I mean, technically you could cast Murktide Region, but usually you just delve. I mean, you could cast like Force of Will maybe later, but overall, they almost cast no spells in that deck.
Yeah,
That's why you can take them out without actually suffering damage. Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, Swords to Plowshares is awkward.
is funny here.
It's like, okay, Mr. Griffin, okay, exile. Sure. That's where it wants to be anyway. Thank you.
And what can Jorge side in?
I couldn't really see it right now. So something they sometimes have, you see, like because of the mana that they need, they sometimes have like Carpenter Flowers in the sideboard. That would be something. I mean, they have red, so they probably have like Pyroblast to fight against like all the blue stuff because Murktide Region can be annoying. So I don't think there's gonna be too many changes on Jorge's side. So he's probably gonna have like, I guess, red blasts and maybe carpet of flowers. But other than that, not too much really.
Carpet of Flowers is a nice tech here,
Yeah.
giving mana for free.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely. By the way, does he have like a new Phyrexia tattoo over here?
Oh yeah.
Cool.
So both players are shuffling their decks now, and we are getting ready for game number 2 after the sideboard. Do you expect the game number 2 to be very different from game number 1 after sideboarding?
I think maybe it's gonna help Alfonso, like the Deva player, a little bit more because he got rid of like the wastelands that don't really do much. He can also get rid of some of his removal spells that are not that great. So I think it's gonna help Alfonso quite a bit. But overall, I think Food Chain players, they don't hate playing against Delver. Like Delver is still a very good deck, and most people don't want to play against it. But with Food Chain, like I don't like we saw the Mist Hologriffins, right? If your mana works and you keep playing the Mist Hologriffins, it's just a nightmare for Delver. So I still like Food Chain a little more, but the problem like with Food Chain is you have Food Chain, which is like a dead card. So if you play like Food Chain, or if like you have Imperial Recruiter and it's like very slow and the Food Chain doesn't resolve, it's you can sometimes have these hands that don't work. Like you have like protection and combo pieces, but then one of your combo pieces doesn't work, and then all of the rest of your hand doesn't do anything. So I mean, Delva is still like tier 1 deck. What can you say? So, but I hope we see more Food Chain because it's a very rare deck that you don't see a lot.
Yeah, that's right. So Alfonso has played the Delver of Secrets to start with.
And Jorge has a turn 1 play. And there's not too many turn 1 plays you could make. There's maybe Ponder, but I hope maybe Carpet of Flowers.
Or the Lightning Bolt, like before.
Oh, I keep forgetting that this is red Food Chain, of course. Yeah. Yeah, definitely lightning bolt. Then yeah, you take out the ball. In like we've had barn food chain. Barn food chain is also very popular. Bug food chain, sometimes even blue green simic food chain. But rug food chain very uncommon. And we will see. Yeah, but this is yeah. If you see this, probably lightning bolt to the diver. And Alfonso will
Yeah.
need to build another creature because if the game goes long, that's a lot better for food chain.
So same thing happens as in game number one, lightning bolt killing the first threat played by Alfonso. I think this is a nice play because this gives a lot more time
Yeah.
to Jorge.
Do you know Alfonso?
Uh, Not personally.
Maybe I'm misremembering his last name. I thought he's like from Valencia, and he won Eternal Weekend.
Okay, maybe.
I think he won Vintage Eternal Weekend. Yeah. I think I recognize him. And if that's him, then he actually won Eternal Weekend Vintage. Also very good legacy player, and
Okay.
he's from Valencia.
Okay.
Yeah, I recognize the hair. Okay, cool. So he's got two more creatures. That's what you need, right? If you're the beatdown deck, you want the creatures, you want to put on a lot of pressure. And Jorge, what do we see here? I think Ice Fang Codal. That's a really good card against Stelva. More Mist Hologriffins
Yeah.
and pass. So upkeep. Yeah, he could brainstorm on upkeep to make sure to flip Delver. Yeah, that's what we're
Yeah,
seeing here.
he's going for it.
Yeah. First scry. Or actually it's surveil, right? It's not scry. Yeah.
Mhm. No, two Force of Wheels and one Dragon Rage Channeler.
Ah, cool. Okay, it's awkward. Like we talked about the swords to plowshares. If you have two swords to plowshares and Ice Fang Codal, it really doesn't feel great. So maybe we just like shuffle this one away. We have a lot of creatures. So how big it is? There's like creature in the graveyard, instant, and
Land.
land. So we need another sorcery. There's a ponder in hand. So that could actually work. Actually, so I want to put the ponder on top, show the ponder. Yeah, because I want to play the ponder. Awesome. Yeah. Oh, we're getting rid of the creature, okay. We already have enough creatures. More counter magic.
Yeah,
Murktide
Fortification,
Regent. Yeah.
Mortite Regent, and a Fetchland.
I'm feeling okay if I'm Alfonso here. This, this is decent. Is this actually two Ice Fang Codals in Jorge's hand? Yeah. Dude, Ice Fang Codal, that's such an annoying card to play against on Diver. Like you wish you could Pyroblast it every single time so you can like trade 1 for 1. But other than that, you always trade down. Like you always trade like 2 for 1, and that's not very wannabe.
Yeah,
Oh, we're flashing it in?
yeah, he's going for it.
Yeah, he's thinking about days. So okay,
Oh,
he's taking the damage. He's like, okay, I wanna be safe against days next turn. Finds more for okay, 2 lands and a force.
so he's taking 6 damage here.
He's probably gonna use that fetch land, so down to 12. And 12 is like dangerous. Like your opponent has like 6 power in play, you're on 12 life,
Mhm.
like 2 swings. There's a good chance next turn Alfonso also adds the Murktide Regent, which is gonna be 1, 2, 5, 5. These are 5, 5. It also shrinks the Dragon Rage channel, though. So we will see.
Yeah.
We will see what Alfonso decides on. He's on a 2 turn clock. He doesn't need to add the Murktide. And Jorge really only wants to play Ice Fang Codal to Ice Fang Codal. Honestly, I think Alfonso might actually try to force fulfill the Ice Fang Codal. It doesn't feel great. Actually,
Yeah.
sorry, I keep jumping from one thing into the other. Ice Fang Codal doesn't actually do that much because right now we don't even have like snow-covered basic lands. We
Yeah.
need snow-covered basic lands, and we don't have those right now. So
Okay.
here's the first
Yeah.
one, but we need 2 more. I mean, technically, you could also like
Mhm.
only have 1 more and then 2 Ice Fang Codals, and they see each other and they count. But that's still very far away. And Jorge needs help right now. Oh, he got the
Yeah.
Bolt.
Yeah.
Oh, Bolt is good. Bolt is so good here.
And he's going for it now
Yeah.
for the Dragon Ray Channeler.
Uh, now it's okay. Now you can go to 9, and then next turn you play an Ice Fang Codal. Yeah, easy. Well, I guess he still needs green mana. I can fetch. Maybe he's gonna fetch basic forest.
And Alfonso is playing the Regent.
Yeah, 5/5. Yeah, 5. That's 8 points of damage. Jorge is on 9. If he uses that fetch land, he's dead. Literally dead next turn. So I think there's gonna be a huge counter fight over Ice Fang Codal next turn. So what Jorge actually wants to do is to draw another land. Maybe he already has another land, so he can play both Ice Fang Codals. He really needs that. That's going to be a snow-covered forest here, and then if he gets 2 Ice Fang Codals next turn, then there's going to be enough snow permanents to turn them. Oh, he's going to play it end of turn. Okay, I like that. I like that. Alfonso doesn't have days. Just let's reserve. Okay. There's also, oh, dude, there's so much. There's also endurance in Jorge's hand here.
Endurance.
Yeah. The game is slowly turning around, but that's like those 2 forces. But I think he only has 1 pitch card, right, Alfonso? He's got like basically 2 force of wills and 1 force of negation and another card.
And the source of closers.
Oh, that's a good one.
To take away Jorge's blocker.
Yeah. That would be a really good one.
Yeah.
Because Jorge, he needs to counter this, otherwise he's dead. I mean,
Yeah.
endurance, okay, endurance can block, that also still works. Or this one.
He's playing the second Ice Wing code.
Yeah. The problem with the second one, though, is it doesn't have death touch if the Zarzoso Plowshare has resolves. So it can only jump block. It doesn't really kill them
Yeah.
tight. So Alfonso's like, sure, you got that. He wants to force Zarzoso Plowshares to resolve.
So here comes the fight over that source to closers. Alfonso is probably fighting back
I would think so, right? Because
for it to resolve.
this is basically for the win here. Jorge's down to 7. He would gain 1 life of the Zarzoso Plowshares up to 8.
Yeah.
And that's still enough for Alfonso to win the game. Yeah, and Jorge
Jorge is down to 7 after paying 1 life for the force of will.
going up to 8, and now he's dead. I think he's got nothing, right? Well, yeah, jump block. Okay, yeah, jump block, of course, sure. That one still works. He's dead next turn.
Okay. And I'm down to 5.
Okay, just playing the lands. So you really need to deal with that Murktide region. So what you want is a Pyroblast. That's the best you can have. And
No.
just he packs it in. He's got nothing. He's got endurance. That's not good enough. He can't even cast it. And we're headed to the 3rd game with Food Chain this time on the play. So now after I've seen like all these Ice Fang Codals, I actually like it. By the way, we talked about this, right? How it wants all basic lands. The first land was Volcanic Island.
Yes.
And not a basic land. If the first land was a basic land, we would have snow. What's it called? Snow, Metalcraft, Snowcraft, whatever. It's turned on, and the Murktide region would have died to the Ice Fang Codal.
But he needed red swords for the lightning bolt, and maybe he was afraid of not getting a blue sword later on. But it's funny, but maybe the game was on that decision.
Yeah. I mean, it also depends on which kind of fetch land he had, right? If it's like a fetch land that cannot fetch a mountain, then you of course you have to get the Volcanic Island, and there's good reasons to get the Volcanic Island, like you mentioned, right? If you're like scared that you don't have blue and you really need blue, of course. It's just like what I'm saying is the Food Chain deck really wants basics, and you can get punished if you don't. It's gonna be a little easier on the play, of course. You got the tempo advantage there.
It's a mana hungry deck. But the second game was very different from the first one. Alfonso was very aggressive, playing his creatures, defending his creatures, and trying to end the game as soon as possible because he knows that if the game reaches to the point when Jorge has plenty of mana, he's start doing his shenanigans.
Yeah.
And then it's very hard for Alfonso.
So yeah, but Alfonso really understands the matchup. It seems like he really went aggressive. I mean, you can't always choose how many creatures you have in the opening hand, of course, otherwise maybe mulliganing. But he was like, okay, creature, put a lot of pressure onto you because I know once you get to have mana, it's gonna be a completely different game. Once you have mana, it's just like so hard for me to ever win. So a common theme is like when Food Chain plays a Carpet of Flowers in the first turn, the diver deck sometimes will just force. It's too good. It's too much mana too quickly.
Now in the third game, Alfonso will be on the draw. That means that even if he's aggressive, he cannot be as fast as in the second game. So we'll see. I think Jorge has a couple of flowers in his hand, but he's...
Was it Carpet? I thought it was like Veil of Summer.
Oh, Veil of Summer.
It looked like Veil of Summer, the green card. He also has Manipulate Fate. That's a card that only Legacy players know, I think. Yeah. Maybe you can show it on screen. Manipulate Fate is pretty cool. It's like Ancestor Recall for 2 mana. So what it allows you to do is, it's a sorcery, a colorless, and a blue. You get to remove 3 cards from your deck and put them into exile, and you draw a card. So it replaces itself, and you remove like 3 griffins.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, like, you can still play those. So it's like they're in your hand. So you pay 2 mana, you get 4 cards.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So he's converting a disadvantage into an advantage for him.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And from what I've seen, like the really good Delver players, they actually fight over Manipulate Fate. Actually, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's what when the check pile players played. Yeah, the check pile was a lot more mid range. For Delver, maybe you can say, okay, resolves doesn't matter. You still have to pay 4 for your Griffin, and paying 4 is like very far away.
Yeah.
So I think Delver might actually like let it resolve and then try to kill you quickly. But yeah, Alfonso needs creatures. We seen last game, right? Early creatures, that's a must.
Yeah. So he's fetching for a Tundra and playing a Delver of Secrets on his first turn. And he will probably try to flip it in his second turn.
Okay. Okay, this time starting off for Snocker, basic lands. Brainstorm, sure.
Yeah. He's searching for his lightning bolt, probably, like in the first games.
Right now, what you just want, you want to make land drops. Like, you want to make your third, your fourth land drop. You want to make sure nothing happens to that. And I mean, this land is probably gonna turn into a basic mountain if he does play basic mountain. I think he might. He's also got like a Verdant Catacombs in hand, which will probably turn into like a forest. And the Delver flips, goes to town. Jorge down to 17, soon to be 16 after the fetch. Oh, he's also got the Pyroblast. Okay.
Yes.
So ideally, the Pyroblast, you don't want to put on the Delver. You want to put the Pyroblast on the Murktide. Because like your Lightning Bolt cannot kill Delver. But of course, if there's too much pressure, you have to do it.
Yes.
And then if the opponent plays a Murktide after, like, ah. But yeah, that's magic. Let's see.
Yeah. The lightning bolt has only one use, that is for the Delver or the Dragon Ray Channeler, but the Pyroblast has many uses because he can take down a bigger creature like the Regent and also participate in a counter spell war.
Yeah. Force of Will for sure. Okay, we're getting Tiger, so we're not getting basic mountain. And like, Tiger gives you access to 2 more colors of mana. Alfonso, actually, it's kind of funny, right? Alfonso took out the wastelands.
Yeah.
So technically, Jorge could just like get everything he wants. He won't get the snow that he might need, but he could like get anything.
That's the mind games.
Yeah.
In the first game, I proved that I can live without duals, and then in the second and third, I search for all the duals because I know that he has sideboarded out his wastelands.
Yeah. That's cool. So what's happening here?
There is a surgical extraction now, but he's putting it back. There is no use for that.
He's got like 2 lightning bolts, right?
Two
So the
lightning bolts.
lightning, like if he's very aggressive, like if that Delver deals some more damage, maybe he can just go like attack, bolt. It happens sometimes.
But I think he's looking for a second threat.
Yeah. He's got the Murktide in hand, I think, actually. Can play like some cantrips and then the turn after, maybe Murktide. If he has another land drop, he could actually go like cantrip, fetch land, Murktide. That makes like a 5/5.
Yes.
But I'm wondering whether the Delver will actually attack here. Because right now, from Jorge's side, it actually looks like he could have endurance. So the Delver would actually run straight into endurance. Okay, he's attacking. Okay, not afraid. I mean, he also has not seen endurance yet, so that's fair.
Ponder.
Oh, there's a threat. There's 2 more threats.
Pyroblast,
And a
Delver,
person, yeah.
and Channeler.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna draw Delver, flip it next turn with the Pyroblast, and have DRC right after. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, and you can see, right? It's a little too slow on the food chain side right now. You have some stuff, but you really need like the mana. All this stuff is like expensive.
So he's playing a second Delver. He's leaving the Murktide region for later on.
Yeah.
And he even has a spell piercing hand.
Okay, this one is gonna be taken out.
So in the end, Jorge has to use the Pyroblast on Delver.
Oh, there's fourth Erlingas as well. Okay, that's kind of cool. You know that one that it's like a color, well, X, red and white, and you pay and you get like knight. I think knight tokens,
Yes.
2 knight tokens with trample and haste, and if you deal damage to the opponent that turn, you become the monarch. Oh, and that's gonna be hard from like if Jorge, he can only really use like maybe Ice Fang Hodl, but he doesn't have that to take back the monarchy. So that's a really good card. We talked about this earlier, right? That card basically brought back Jeskai Diver. Jeskai Diver was not really very popular in the last years, but that card alone, that really like put the deck back on the map. So I'm excited. I want to see it in action. I want to see some monarchy. I want to see whether Alfonso actually brought like a crown to put on or something. Fetching here, fourth land. Could be. Hmm. I mean, it could be a Mist Hollow Griffin, but that's not that exciting. It's probably going to get Pyroblasted. No, we're just playing Brainstorm? Okay, yeah, Brainstorm is more exciting. Because the rest of our hand doesn't really seem all that good. Ooh, and we fight over this. We want to tap you out.
Spell pairs.
Ah, I like it. I mean, that's actually really smart because the spell pierce is probably not gonna connect with too many other things here anymore. So at least this way, Jorge has to tap out, and then Alfonso can take him down to 8, and he's got 2 lightning bolts in hand, so it's like very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was probably the last use for that spell pierce, other than being pitched to a force of will
Yeah.
later on. So Alfonso is going for it. Again, Alfonso needs to be very aggressive because the more turns Jorge gets to play, the closer he gets to the
very much
to the
so.
win.
Yeah, Alfonso, you know this feeling when he sits there, he's like, okay, this is pretty close. I already have it. Like if you move too far, no, that's a big deal. It's half the tournament already over. Like if you go to like at that point, you only need 2 more wins, and you draw twice. You go to a top 8. You're like, hey, cool, here I am. Yeah, he's excited. He knows he wants to. Oh, this is cool by the way too. You only pay 2. You do not make a token. But the second part of the card is when you deal damage to the opponent, this turn you become the monarch.
So he becomes the monarch
Yeah.
anyway when the
Delver deals the damage. Yeah. That's what I like. That's my initial thought when we made when we saw the card. Like I do a podcast with Kai, like Everyday Channel about Legacy, and like we saw that and we were like, you can actually pay nothing. You just like pay 2, turn 1 creature, turn 2 fourth Erlingas, and then you become the monarch.
Yeah.
I mean, you get punished if they have like removal and response, but if they are tapped out, it's like, yeah. I mean, that's also like Jorge is tapped out. That spell pierce tapped him out, so he's safe to do that.
But so Jorge is fighting with a force of will, but I think Alfonso has one of his own and the Pyroblast.
This is so cool.
Okay, so now Alfonso becomes the monarch. And that means lots of free cards.
The free card at the end of every of his turns. I love the token, by the way. Crown. Yeah, okay, I got a crown. Monarchy token. Okay, Jorge. Yeah, that's just like 1 turn too late, right? He needed a turn earlier. Oh, food chain. Well, he's got no cards in hand, right?
Yes. So we know that Jorge is favored in the later game, but what about Alfonso drawing 2 cards per turn? There's an advantage for him.
Yeah, and you can even take out the food chain here. Prismatic ending.
Okay.
Yeah, at this point, it's going to be really hard for Jorge to do something.
Now Alfonso is playing control.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that Jorge doesn't do anything.
Oh, he's to 6? He's on 6?
Yes.
He's got 2 lightning bolts.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's a possibility as well because Jorge has
maybe using a fetch land here.
Yeah, but if he fetches, I don't think he has more than 1 card in hand, or maybe no card in hand to fight against the lightning bolts.
Yeah, he fetched end of turn. Now he draws for the turn. What's that? I mean, there's not really much he can do here. He needs to gain life. Okay, he could have Uro. Uro gains life right away. So Uro would be okay. But it gets countered.
Alfonso has 2 lightning bolts and 1 pyroblast to respond to a possible.
I thought he was tapped out. Oh, he's not even tapped out. He can just like do it whatever he wants. Okay.
But he decides to play patiently.
Force of negation.
Force of
Okay,
negation.
now he's basically dead. Like,
Mm,
yeah, he can do that. But then next turn, like even if he draws, like okay, he can draw removal, I guess. But if you're playing against the monarchy, it's just like
mm,
it's gonna take to like there's just after like 4 or 5 turns, it's just
yeah.
this is legacy card advantage is such a problem. And if you can get that, it's completely crazy. Also, like look at this. This might actually. Oh no, you cannot put the lightning bolt on top because Force of Negation exiled it.
True.
So what are we putting on top? Like Pyroblast maybe? Oh, Spell Pierce. Okay.
Spell pierce.
I don't even want to draw Spell Pierce here. Well, actually, it's okay because Jorge is on like on 2 mana, so you can actually
Hmm.
counter spell or something
Yeah.
like another like I don't know Flusterstorm or whatever. Okay, cool.
And
So
he concedes, and Alfonso takes the win in this match.
yeah, Alfonso, one of the strongest legacy players, Spanish legacy players that I know, and he's moving on to 4-0. Needs 2 more wins to probably like book his place in the top 8 of this tournament, and yeah, become potentially the winner of the second biggest legacy tournament in all of Europe. Like ever
Mhm.
since we don't have GPs anymore, it's actually crazy, right? The community stepped it up massively. We lost GPs 4 years ago. We couldn't really play a lot of Magic for many years during pandemic. Now everything is back. Wizards is not supporting it, right?
Yes.
This is like we got 4 seasons in Bologna, we got the European Legacy Masters, we got Impact Returns. All across Europe, there's many tournaments. Like we got Botshop in Germany, like all of these tournaments, even if it's just like 20 people, they are growing. So Rumko, for example, told me Impact Returns, this was like 10 guys in a bar 10 years ago. Just
Mhm.
like playing some legacy. Okay, let's make a tournament. Okay, 10 guys, 20 guys, maybe 40 guys at some point. Now we're here almost 200 people.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
And
true.
that's still like with mostly like marketing to Spanish people. Like if we get international people in here, this can easily become a 200 plus player event. So I'm gonna be back here next year anyway. And like if you want any kind of information, just hit me up how to get here, what to do around here. Also Roomcore of the team, they will help you a lot. So I'm super excited for that.
Mhm.
Do we have a feature, a backup match? We might have a time walk match. This match went pretty long, but we could have something else to watch. I'm excited for that. Like
Mm,
I love the idea that we can always like watch a second match. You
yes,
can
yes.
never get enough of it.
We have more than 10 minutes, so maybe we can see the last game of the
Yeah,
match or something like that.